Polish my language. Linda, Linda, and the last name is Aliwa, Haliua.
Okay,
Use a money by consonants.
and then what's your address?
It's 305 Sorrento. In Portland. Sorrento Avenue in Portland.
Perfect, okay, well, we can get you to speak when we start the meeting.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you. All right, is everyone ready to start?
Yeah, Billy's on his way.
All righty.
Oh,
Oh, wait, is someone on
Okay.
their way?
yeah, but that's okay. Just, Linda can go first and I don't know if he wanted to speak or not.
Okay,
I just know he wanted to come.
all right, well,
can
we'll
speak
call
if you want.
to order if everyone's ready. We'll go right into it. Citizen comments and reports. We have one.
All right, so my name is Linda Aliwa and I own the Venetian Hot Plate in Port Aransas, 232 Beach Street. This coming, the 16th of April, I'm going to have a fundraiser done at the restaurant. It's going to be challenging, but we'll do it, from 1 to 5. And, the proceeds will benefit the, animal shelter. So there will be like kind of a, what is called a ramage sale, garage sale, it's not a garage, so different items, whatever, for sale, some used, and the profit I will make sure
16.
they goes
Wonderful.
to the shelter. I know that I did some research and there's the city of Port Aransas Animal Shelter is an account that is dedicated to the shelter. I want to ask you if that's true and if that what is going to happen.
Yeah,
Um,
I'll wait until you're done. I'm sorry.
So, so I want to just make sure that one, I'm involving quite a few people. There's going to be raffles and silent auctions. So anything that we can raise donations and anything. So to put some kind of more awareness. I have a platform where I see a lot of people every night. So it's a good way of, going out there. Although I've been doing it for years and talking and promoting whatever, but never to the extent of say, hey, just pay attention. So for that reason, because there's a lot of people that are already involved and they will be glad to spend the kind of money. I want to just make sure that goes to the shelter, not there or there to the shelter, whatever, probably for the food, for whatever. I have no idea the amount of money that we're going to be raising. As I said, is new to me. But whatever it is, it please can be dedicated to that. So I want to just have your, word that if that's true, what I know, and or how can how I proceed in order to do so.
Well, thank you, Linda.
So, all right,
Yeah,
thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Linda.
Yeah, I'll make a quick statement on our policy per that question. So if you go on our website, we just put a note up per our last meeting, this was brought up and I'm glad we did. And basically what it says on the animal shelter's website, when you pull it up, to make checks out to the city of Port Aransas for donations. And then in the notes section to write animal shelter or donation, something to that effect. So we know when the city receives that check, that's where the monies will be budgeted. And city council's in charge of the budget. So whenever we do the budget every year, they will see these things. There'll be a report on all the financing. So all that money, as long as it's titled correctly, should get accounted the correct way.
As long as it's mentioned, we're sure that that's what the money goes.
Correct. The check to the city, because basically city council is in charge of all the city financing, and that includes donations. So that's why it needs to go to the city because they're in control of all the monies. So it goes to them. And then the note, put animal shelter. So we know the monies go to that line item specifically, not a different one.
Okay.
What, can I ask you, Mr. Rees, when the donations go to the animal shelter, if there's a special project that needs to be done quickly or within, how do we, do we just ask to do that or, like say we want to put some shelving or get some tubs to help organize that back room or something like that? how do we go about getting those things done? You know, if people see something else that they might want to add to it or think they, might help.
Yeah, I'll make another, basically on the citizen comment section, you're just allowed to make statements of policy or fact.
That's right. I'm sorry. We're
Yeah, that's
citizen comment part.
Yeah, so I can make a statement of policy or fact. They don't want to debate.
Right. I forgot.
Yeah, no, but I know basically, since again, council's in charge of the budget, we have certain line items. What we have right now for the animal shelter is $5,000.
Mhm.
And I have that.
A year.
Right. And the way it's line item right now, it's titled animal control supplies. So it's pretty broad.
Okay.
So not going really deep into this next budget, and I'll talk about this actually within our item. In fact, why don't we just get into the
Let's do
agenda,
it.
and then I'll talk about this more within
I
there.
forgot where we were still at.
That's okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. So we'll get into it. All right, let's start off. Thank you again for joining us and your citizen comment. That was great. And thank you for what you're doing for the animal shelter. All right, we'll move on now. If there are no more citizen comments, on to items for consideration. A, update on general discussion of the animal shelter and the capital improvement project by me. Everyone should have a packet. This is the latest from the architect. It should say on the top of it. It should have some designs. We put in enough for everyone to share, but if you need your own, let me know. I can bring this larger copy to you. What we can do is just go through this together. Let me bring. This is the larger one. I don't know if anyone wants this larger one. Is everyone good?
Do we have to read these things?
No.
Oh.
So basically, every time we've met with the architect, she's given us the latest and greatest. Now this is the latest and greatest again. So I wanted to go through it with everyone, see if there's any questions, recommendations. I want to make sure what I have is what you guys are looking at. So if you don't mind noise, I'll kind of look at yours. Yeah, I'll look at it with you because I'm just now noticing mine's probably mixed. If that makes sense. The page is differently than what you guys have.
Yeah.
I'm just now noticing.
It's basically the same.
Oh, that's okay. So the top one is a topo that just tells you your elevations above floodplain. Okay, now we're on the same page. I was confused by the top one. Go ahead. I'm sorry, noise. After that, we go right into the site plan. Let's go into the next page. It should be a white page. It says G101. It's pretty much a general layout of the facility.
Don't have any numbers. It's at the bottom.
The very bottom right-hand side.
Way over there. Okay. Got it.
Okay, we'll move on to the next one, G102. And stop me if you have any questions or comments as we kind of just peruse through this.
Did the architect use the city of Corpus Christi assessment suggestions about the drains and
Correct.
plumbing and all that business?
So basically, thank you for sharing that with me, Rebecca. I did get that over to our architect for review, and I basically forwarded those documents you shared with me.
Okay.
And I pointed out the sections that were relevant, and I said, please just consider this in your design.
Okay.
And she told me she did review it. And now we're to the point of her design here. Now, going back to, like you were saying, the plumbing specifically, I think right now we're on page 102.
Yeah.
Does everyone see where it says hall? It's on the, I want to call it the southern portion of the design or down portion.
Yeah.
I'll try to hold this up since I have the larger copy. This hallway.
Oh, that.
Uh-huh.
That's another hall.
Yeah, sorry.
Halls.
There's another one, maybe.
Yeah, this hallway is actually internal. That will be built and added on to the building. And these rooms that you see next to the hall are internal compartments. And they have this sliding door almost I hate to say guillotine style, but a sliding door where you open it to let them outside. And that's where you're looking at here with these external pins.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've noticed, but where it says hall and 60 inch clearance, where those doors open, there's going to be a trough there or a grate, and that'll be the drainage. There'll be a slightly sloping floor to when they hit it with the hose. It should drain backwards and into this trough in this grate, and then there'll be plumbing here that'll take it all outside. All right, so while I'm holding this, we'll kind of look at things. Very north west corner, top to the left, you'll see the office. It gets redesigned. Maybe this isn't the best look. Let me see if I can find a better page. There's multiple pages in here. Probably if everyone can go to in the bottom right hand corner, it'll say A200. That might be a better look.
So this is all the existing building and the only square footage added is the kennels?
I'm sorry.
So this is all the existing building and the only square footage added is the kennels?
Correct, on that southern portion. But there'll be some remodeling and renovation of the inside completely and the externals. So it'll be brought up to code, ADA compliant,
Right,
new
right.
look, all of that.
Sure.
So if we look at the very top left portion, you'll notice that's the office. You can see a desk and 2 chairs, a coffee bar. You'll see a door there. This is from Rick's recommendation, and it's a good one. And BJ's also, if you go south, there's another door into that next little room space down. That's going to be a meet and greet. And what he's proposing is we're going to allow for whoever the person is interested in the animal to have some private time with the animal so they can interact by themselves in here and kind of have like a, I guess, an animal interview, or people interview. So they're proposing a door there also, but we don't have to put a door there. I kind of wanted to ask your feedback on that. Do you notice there's a door into the meet and greet from the external? We can leave that there or remove it. I don't know if there's any recommendations on that. Yes, sir.
Well, you've got an enclosed space with no external fire escape.
Right.
Yeah.
So leave it.
I would,
Yes, sir.
I would leave it. too.
Okay, sounds good.
Can,
Huh?
that way that people can access to walk the dog,
Oh, yeah.
That's right. Walk out that door.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
if you want to be able to
Right.
figure out, yeah.
That's a great idea.
Although it's not a bad idea to have them walking in a fenced-in contained area.
But isn't this fenced in because it's a porch and it has,
I don't think that's within the fence line, but that could be discussed as well.
you could put a fence there in that corner.
We could actually, yeah.
Add a fence.
Like you're saying, add a fence just around where the store opens up into a small little fenced area. We can add that. I'll kind
Both
of,
doors in that room should be, I don't know, you should be lockable from the inside. If somebody's visiting with a cat, they should be able to turn it loose without the fear of somebody opening the door.
Oh, I got you.
where is this? I'm sorry.
Just an
If you're
internal.
gonna use your meet and greet for a cat visit as well,
Uh-huh.
they need to be able to lock it to where they got the cat loose on the inside, they're visiting with it,
Okay,
and somebody doesn't open the door.
I see. So it needs to be lockable in this room. Okay,
Like your house.
lockable per animals.
That'd be great, just a little bit of fencing right there, just around that one area,
Okay. Yeah.
without having to go into the
Yeah.
hall with the other dogs.
That would mean that your people have to come through the office area and then would be let into that room.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Great. Yeah, this is great feedback. Thank y'all very much for all of that. All right, let's keep going. We can all see that there's a restroom behind the office. And then we have a janitorial / bathing euthanasia area. Behind that. Next wall behind that is storage. It's gonna have some shelving. Small little room south of that is a mechanical room. That's where all your electrical, air conditioning and things of that nature will be stored in. And then south of that is your quarantine area, 3 little areas for that. And then a cat room next to that. To the right is what we have existing now, where you go outside in that narrow hallway with the existing kennels. That hallway is going to be expanded. Well, it's not really a hallway. I think it's an external area. It's going to be expanded for more room. So it's ADA compliant. And then south of the cat room, we have another hallway, which then opens into another hallway and into the kennels, as we discussed, internal and external portions to those kennels with a slightly sloping drainage. I think some of the questions we were talking about is, what should we have for the external portion? Should it just be, grass? Or should it be almost like a caliche? I don't know if there's any recommendations on.
Well, I've kennel dogs, a variety of kennels, and that grass doesn't do well with a lot of traffic, and they eventually end up replacing it with some synthetic astroturf or whatever.
Okay.
So I would recommend against grass to begin with.
How about
But
the,
you gotta mow it.
I'm sorry, I'm Dr. McGee.
Yes, sir.
Naval Clinic, Sergeant Labor, doing surgery. I've had a clinic in San Antonio for 30-something years with caliche backyard. And it's worked out fine for all that time.
Okay.
Because nothing's gonna grow there with urine and sun and South Texas. It's not gonna happen.
how about the artificial turf?
I'm not a big, I know that's really in vogue right now, but from a standpoint of cleaning, disinfection, harboring organisms. It seems like a lot of work to me. But my wife thinks it's awesome, but I don't know.
So it has a chance to harbor.
Fredericksburg has it.
I was thinking because it wouldn't
Our grass.
Yeah, it
reflect
would
the
be-
light
it would
if
be
the
much more
heat so much.
visually appealing.
It would be a problem
Right.
with the caliche. And that's why I was thinking it may get too hot.
If they were out there for long periods of time, yeah, the caliche is gonna be hot, but we use a lot. I used to live at Gulf Waters, and there's a lot of the lots there that specifically will use AstroTurf because of dogs. And we didn't have too much problem cleaning it down. You need to have it professionally installed. It needs to have the sand layers and the drainage layers, and yeah, you can't just lay AstroTurf and on top of caliche
Yeah.
and get proper drainage.
Fredericksburg has it on their shelter.
So yeah, and it does help teach a lot of dogs too to use grass, but most will adjust to caliche just fine.
Okay.
So maybe
Problem-
it costs.
It's
different-
that
costs-
it's probably considerably more expensive.
With the AstroTurf,
No,
and then it'll probably get ripped up over time, right, with them
But
digging
you
and
could
whatnot.
look at having an island or two of an AstroTurf amongst your caliche. Then you would have different textures. Some dogs might favor, especially if you're gonna have like a shade structure.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're saying just like put a little square of it
Yeah,
within the caliche basically, maybe a little lay down area?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
For small dogs, because they're,
It is. It can be
Paws.
hard on their paws.
Actually, Salty Dog in Rockport went from grass to AstroTurf a couple of years ago. You might call them and ask them what their experience was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
they-
a lot of shelters are
they
using
work.
it.
yeah,
Like you
Salty
said,
dog.
Fredericksburg has theirs.
Fredericksburg has
It's-
theirs.
Yeah.
I went up and looked at all that.
It's also on top of where our kennels are at, we're still gonna have most of our yard as well. So if we want our dogs to run outside in the yard, they're still gonna have access to grass running out in the yard and things like that. And the way these drop door kennels will work, they'll be able to come inside and outside. So they'll go outside. If they get too hot, they can also go inside. Those drop doors will stay open throughout the day until it's time to clean them. We'll drop it, clean one side, drop it, clean the other side.
okay.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. Maybe just add some little squares in here for them to lay on. That'll probably work, right? Yeah. And then how do we clean that? Just hit it with the hose? Bleach it?
Use the hose and I'd probably, in a shelter situation, use some kind of non-irritating disinfectant on it.
Yeah, the shelter currently has not been doing a great job with disinfectant substrates. So you can use dilute bleach, but if you don't dilute it properly, you get chemical burns.
Right.
So you need a pH balanced type of, some use Novosan solutions, Rocal solutions, antiviral, antiseptic sprays. And most of those are safe for, and you buy them by concentrated gallons and dilute them down.
Mm-hmm.
But if you wanted to use bleach at 1 to 32, that shouldn't be irritating, right?
Right,
Right.
yeah, you've got to dilute
And
it,
and
and
it would be cheap.
yeah,
Yeah,
it is antiviral.
1 to 32.
But what a lot of people,
Kill your parvo.
it does kill parvo, and you've got to get the surface dry before you let them back in.
Right. Definitely. I can see
Oh.
why. You don't want a flat coated animal getting bleached out.
It's not that they get bleached, they get chemical burns. in
Right.
Very sensitive areas.
Yeah,
Because they
Scrotums
went,
and
because they'll end
tummies.
up laying down on
They'll
it.
lay on it.
and-
yeah, and irritation.
Yep.
Mhm.
Scrotums are the worst for getting horrible, nasty burns on them.
Mm.
Poor things.
Yeah, no, it's not pretty.
All right, well, are there any recommendations kind of looking at this portion of the building?
I had a question.
Yes.
Are you gonna look at, like, for instance, your cat room? Super double insulation?
What does that exactly mean?
Well, within the walls, just trying to make it more soundproof. Cats get very anxious
Okay,
with barking dogs.
okay,
So having you can't soundproof very well dog kennels. But you can alleviate some of the sound transferring to a cat area.
yeah, no, great idea. I think we can certainly work on that. I'll get that. I'm taking notes and everything we're saying here on while we're still in design phase, so the architect can look into that.
There's a hall between there, is there not? There's the kennels and there's a hall, then there's a wall.
Yeah, it's
hall,
helpful, but then you
kennel.
also have these kennels here right up against it.
And those are.
Yeah, because these are our quarantine ones. So these are
Okay.
ones that we would bring, let's say I pick up a dog on the beach, whatever, we'll bring him there. Clean him up, make sure he's not sick or anything before we put him in here.
The good thing is that you have a storage area right next to that
Yeah,
wall.
no, I mean, it's
So
good
that's
that
gonna be
that
pretty good.
room itself is isolated. And then when you look at your euthanasia room, which I would like to see you call treatment room.
Okay. Change
Um,
to treatment. room.
Because, yeah, where are you gonna have a table to do your exams, your vaccines, your looking at and assessing an animal? So please don't put a sign on the door that says euthanasia. Um, and I know currently y'all have a freezer, right?
Yes.
Where's that gonna live?
Well-
So,
I'll have to look at where we're gonna put it when everything gets done. We're gonna try to figure out where to put it.
cause your bathroom / treatment room, which has a table on it, which is great. You need a working space table. But you also need a walk-on scale in that room because that is something they are severely lacking right now.
Mhm.
And then that ends up not making enough wall space for a freezer.
Mhm.
You need a body freezer is what I'm saying.
Okay,
A big one.
And well, hopefully not a big one. Hopefully they have it cleaned out and cleared on a regular basis, but it needs
Our
to
our
be
freezer tends to stay pretty empty. We don't really
right,
euthanize a lot of animals, so.
but it needs to be accessible, so you need to have a space for it. They have a large footprint.
yeah, no, great point. How large is the freezer we have now?
It's honestly not too big. It's deeper. It's not very.
It's a chest freezer.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're usually
Okay.
chest, but that's what I mean. It's a footprint.
Mhm.
No, it's
Okay.
about a seven
Uh,
cubic foot,
Yeah,
so you're probably looking 3 feet wide and maybe about 3.5 feet deep.
Okay,
That's the best rough estimate, but it is now.
gotcha.
And maybe putting out this hallway out here, where you go into the, kennels off to the end somewhere.
Right,
Or if there's an exterior area, we can keep it covered and protected from rust. So,
right,
yeah, we'll find a place where we got and within.
sure. Yeah, there might even be room and storage possibly.
Question,
Yes, sir.
between the meet and greet and the cat room, there looks like a hallway that goes to the other hallway out to the kennels, in the vertical member of the T, the new addition. Is that a hallway?
Yes, sir.
Is that a door or is that just an opening there? It doesn't show a door symbol.
Right,
If there was a door there, that would eliminate more of the noise between the kennels and the cats and the offices.
yep. I'll confirm that. That should be a door.
It looks like a, he's talking right here.
It's just a hollow of a white hollow.
Right there, yeah. It may have gotten missed. I will,
That should be a door to eliminate noise and odor and everything else from.
Yes, sir.
And wind from the kennels, because the breeze comes out of the southeast in the summertime.
yes, sir.
You'll also need to have in that treatment area a couple of cages. And your main reason for that is there's a lot of need for dipping cats. They'll have a terrible ringworm problem. And if you dip a cat, you want to leave it in a cage. You don't want to take it back to the cat room because that is a god awful smell.
Yeah, it's just right now we don't have accessible room for things like that at the shelter
Right.
currently. That's why our problem's so bad. You know, we don't have a
It
place
is
to
bad.
bathe them. We don't have,
Right.
and that's why this new building's gonna be great because we'll be able to
Right.
stay on top.
But
of
you
things
need to
like-
plan for, because if you dip a cat and then carry your wet, because once you dip a cat, you're not allowed to dry it physically. It has to drip dry. It needs a place
Hmm.
to be housed apart and separate from the other cats. And trust me, there's a serious ringworm problem.
No, I know.
So Larry, can you tell from your larger thing, what are these items that are already in there? In that room,
What it says,
There,
in the treatment room?
it says
it's a
dryer.
washer and dryer and tub. So yeah, it's almost like
Oh,
the washer and dryer needs to be elsewhere.
Okay,
So that you can put a bank of cages
okay.
and actually accomplish the things that need to happen in that room.
Actually, the washer and dryer ought to be backed up to the toilet and restroom area.
That's still that room.
For the plumbing.
Storage.
Yeah,
So you will do your towels and things, whatever, and you there, do it out, you put it in the shelves.
Yeah,
oh, so that's a sink, and then what's the thing in the bottom lower right? Lower right.
yeah, what is that symbol?
there's the hot water heater.
Yeah,
You're probably right. We have a,
Should be against,
see.
yeah.
I'll see if we have a legend anywhere.
there was one at the,
I think it's like one of the last pages, I think, is in the legend of everything.
Yeah, that's all I can think of it be. and hot water heater. It's just not listed anywhere else.
Yeah,
You're probably right on that.
wherever the western dryer go, maybe the heater should go.
yeah, which technically all three of those things might could move over to storage if you took out that one shelf that's against the bath wall.
Yeah.
I'm just worried that your treatment area is gonna become a laundry room and inefficient for actually
Kind of
treatment.
Yeah, those are great points.
It'd be too busy. You get the noise
Yeah.
from the washer and the dryer, and
Right.
you get the animals in there and.
Well, besides, it's not
It'd almost be
clean.
handy if the architect was here at these meetings.
yeah, I know.
No, the treatment area
Yeah,
has
it's
to
got a
be
pretty tricky
tiled.
schedule.
So they can.
Yeah,
clean it.
but I can ask her to try to make the next one. Let's call it like maybe our finalization of this. Yeah, I'll see if she can do that.
Because you're gonna capture all this, but there's some of the dialogue getting this.
Yeah, I'm taking notes here. So what I was gonna offer is everything we're discussing I have here. I'm gonna email her. I'll get us some answers and then I'll get an email back out to all of you.
I would like to recommend that you consider the treatment area as a surgical area. So it would have tiling or
Yeah.
special coating that you can
Disinfect.
disinfect in between treatments, so that you're talking like a surgical room instead of just the laundry
Right.
mechanical.
Right.
A floor drain would be handy in there too, probably.
Yeah.
So tile room for that. We know what I think I think from what I remember her saying that this was just gonna be a concrete floor.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
stained
has to be.
concrete and stuff works great
Yeah.
for, I mean, I had a whole clinic that was stained concrete. It was wonderful.
Okay, well, they're,
Um,
they're
The late,
treatments. that
the
you
late
get-
vinyl stuff is
That's-
amazing, but
yeah.
it's super expensive, but
Yeah,
If
that's so
you-
cleanable.
if you, it's really nice, but. As far as affordability and maintaining stained concretes, stained
Oh,
and sealed,
okay.
works really
In our
well.
laboratory, we had this coating
Yeah,
that removes corners. And
yeah, that's that vinyl that goes. up,
Whatever it is,
goes
yeah.
partially, it's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah, because if you're gonna be hosing this down with disinfectant, you need to
Yeah.
have it. And if you're gonna be doing any type of even minimal surgery procedures, it has to be clean.
Yeah.
So
Can't
do-
have laundry in the same room.
you're right. Do we think we need a drain in that room or does
Yeah,
Mike
yeah,
okay,
yes, you do.
need a drain?
That's part of the whole thing of being able to disinfect it.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I wouldn't put a window in there. Um. If you want to keep it all nice and sealed. I remove that window,
Remove the window.
you know.
Where,
It gives you more wall space to put some cabinets and stuff,
Yeah.
but
okay,
quite frankly, I kind of like a window in surgery room.
Well, it's just to keep it clean is the, I think is to me.
We shouldn't be conducting any surgeries in that room anyway, but these are.
No,
these are
it's
animal
not,
shelter.
but if
We're
you're
doing
doing,
procedures, not surgeries.
What procedures should they be doing inside that room? for animal
Well,
control?
I don't know, if you have
They should be giving
an
shots at
animal
them if
that's.
they're trained, but other than that, we shouldn't be doing that. It should be.
An animal that you have these.
you might have wound cleaning
Yeah.
and
Okay.
bandaging and. I mean, there are. I'm not against a window though, because I kind of like
I was-
some natural light.
I was thinking of the input procedures,
Code may require a window.
that you sent along,
could be.
that
It's like a house.
input
Bedroom and a half
procedures,
has
what did you
gas
call them?
window there.
When you.
Right.
Bring them in, so
Yeah.
check on
Yeah.
the weight, check their.
I was looking
things
at
like that.
Right.
the list
And you
of
should,
things.
I mean, what I would like to see you guys trained to do, and BJ and I had talked about learning how to do that, and I think it'd be really easy to teach you how to do a heartworm check.
Mhm.
They should be able to draw blood and do a heartworm check. Those are pretty minimal, we're talking minimal invasive type procedures, but you could have a cat with an abscess and cleaning that up and stuff like that, it does.
When you get a
create-
run over animal and you're trying to, euthanize it.
Yeah.
That's, I would say that's a procedure in terms of blood and all kinds of things all over the place. So you need to have it, be able to clean it, close it down.
So one question that I had, and I'll pose it while we're all in here. I think it was Rick's recommendation on the design for the quarantine. There's 3 cages to have that slidable door.
Yes, that way we'd be able to, like, if we have a dog that, not the nicest dog, be able to close him off so we can clean that one section that, he messed in, things like that.
I see. Okay, gotcha.
Lawrence, I would like actually to see a little corner shower there in the bathroom for these guys that. In an event they get something on them, they don't have to rush home.
So I tell you what, just a couple days ago, I had to get a dead alligator on the beach. The
dead
smell was
alligator?
not so great.
Yeah, yeah.
And picking him up and the smell stays on you.
Wow, can't believe you got a dead alligator.
That's a
Yeah.
good idea.
I did the exact same thing with my clinic. We designed it with the shower in it.
Just be able to use a quick little wash, just jump in there real quick, wash that
Yeah.
stench
Okay.
off you and
Yeah, and they can keep
Hopefully.
some clothes in there.
yeah.
Hopefully we can do it.
Get a
That,
couple little lockers. we can
That
put
in
some
that space where that bathroom is, it's not gonna work, because if you start designing a shower, they're gonna make you go ADA.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah,
They
ADA,
will make you ADA shower.
yeah,
Not to say you couldn't put an outdoor
Little
shower
outdoor
somewhere
one.
with a little cove in it, because that's on every beach house on this island.
yeah.
And it works for getting the stench off.
Yeah. No, we're not trying to, style our hair, just
Right.
wash off real quick.
Right.
Okay, we can look into that.
Right. What I did with my not so ADA shower is I designed a mop basin and turned it into a shower later, but it's not ADA.
Yep.
But I like the idea of a little outdoor,
Yeah, that would work. I mean, like,
'cause I don't think you're not gonna get it in that space right there.
except for when it's cold, but
Yeah, what, how big is that?
It's too tiny.
Yeah.
There's no way you could get the clearance around it.
yeah.
So we got a couple more pages also we can keep moving through. Just feel free to look at all of it and pose any questions or recommendations that you have.
Okay, now that I mentioned mop basin and stuff like that, where would you put that sort of thing?
Right. Just need really all the correct dimensions on everything.
Yeah.
Really to,
It helps to have them like right next to tubs. You do kind of a mop station that is
Oh.
3 feet wide that you can actually hose off a big German Shepherd. But then you have a tub that's elevated that you can do medium, small dogs and cats. next to each other.
Right.
Because we get the wide.
What is this
variety of
space right
dogs.
here?
Oh, yeah.
Really
This is
big,
the office, this is
super
meet and
Yeah,
greet.
and you don't
What
want.
is this right here, storage?
There's a door there.
It's right in storage.
Yeah. Yeah,
Number one, the dog's not gonna like it.
Right.
Number two,
looks like it's to IT on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's,
Expand the bathroom into that.
Yeah.
You can look at the requirements of what's more important, whatever that is.
Oh,
right. Yeah, like obviously we want the smallest
they had some out. the-
IT room, mechanical room that we can have and expand everything else. But yeah, I'll definitely bring that.
Another little
By
sidebar.
the
They're off their
Yeah.
isolation,
kennels, they had some
three
dogs there.
isolation, kennels.
Yep,
They had a lot of-
Whatever that room is, looks pretty big vis-a-vis the bathroom.
yeah,
And the bathroom wall could be moved north and now all of a sudden you have a larger bathroom
yep.
with a shower and a mop drain and whatever else you need.
I can certainly pose that question. She has a copier or printer in the IT room. Do y'all have your own copier and printer?
yeah, we have a little one we set on top. Well, right now it's on top of like our computer desk right now. And it's not a huge one, it's just a little tiny one. It works.
Okay. Yeah, I'll confirm with the architect that. I'll go and visit with BJ and get an idea of all the IT that we have. See if we can't, possibly shrink that down.
We can get Sparky in on that as well.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Needed.
If they just cut it up here, you could have the
I don't
shower.
know if your IT, I mean, right now. You have your safe is built into the wall. Okay, not. Should be.
It should be, yes, but
What's built into the wall?
They have to have for their DEA, they have to have a built-in safe that is
Oh,
locked into two,
Oh, yeah.
has two locks on it. It can't be pickupable and removable.
Mhm.
It has to be built in and then it has to have two locks. That's required for your DEA license. So you should be looking at a place to build in a safe. Doesn't have to be a giant safe, it just needs to be built in,
What needs to go in there?
a safe.
we need a built-in safe that can't be removed for our DEA.
The DEA drugs have to
Okay.
be in a built-in safe.
Yes.
And the safe has to have two locks.
Yeah. Yeah, we used to.
Which room do you typically see that in?
I mean, a lot of people will put it up near their office, but it could be in the treatment room. It could easily be in the treatment room.
That's probably better. 'Cause
Right.
Since that's where
you use
that
it.
will happen,
Yeah.
so.
Yep.
Okay, how big are those safes?
You can get small ones. I mean, the one that we use at the clinic is fairly small, but
Because the medicine itself doesn't take a whole
it
bunch of
doesn't take
space.
up a lot of space.
Okay.
No, it just,
What is the one now we have? It's probably 2 foot by 2 foot.
Not
It's
about,
tiny.
yeah,
It's a tiny one.
yeah, they're not. They're not
Okay.
real big. Yeah, well, and you have to have in your, I don't know if your mechanicals are allowing for that. In that same treatment room, you need to have the refrigerator. And it would be nice if you went to a bigger refrigerator, but regardless, you can use a countertop refrigerator, but you need a refrigerator for vaccines. And you'll probably need a refrigerator for food stuff.
So can't that be in the storage area? Because you have all those cabinets there.
I mean, you can have a refrigerator for foodstuffs and even their foodstuffs that shouldn't really be the same refrigerator for medicine. You should have.
'Cause ideally, we should have
Just a
our
countertop.
little,
Yeah.
just like a little
Yeah.
tiny fridge, just strictly for medicine, so it's not mixed with anything else. It's just strictly.
What's
So
that
that can fit.
fridge, just a standard?
You can use the smaller, what are the like little 3 cubic, what is the size?
You could use simply like a dorm.
Like practically dorm fridges,
They're a little
Yeah.
bit
But-
smaller.
Mhm.
or the one size up, which is closer to 4 cubic feet.
Yeah.
But you just have to have all vaccines are refrigerated. And they should be easily accessible. I don't know that I would recommend putting them in storage rooms and in the back. I would try to have all your medicine that you need handy in that.
Because realistically,
treatment area.
where we build in the safe, we can have that little same area. We can have a fridge right next to it. That's where we keep our medicine, things like
Right.
that.
Exactly.
So you're not going to one room to get the vaccines,
Right.
coming back, you can just be in that one room.
Right.
There's your medicine, there's that. It's all
It's a
good.
good idea to put it in the treatment area.
Yeah. What about your peanut butter jelly sandwich? You know what I mean?
Right. It is an OSHA violation to put human food and
Yep.
the pet stuff in the medication that you're saying.
Yes, sir.
You're already at it.
Yeah.
Hot water heater, washer dryers up in here,
And then,
and whatever this is, it puts all your plumbing kind of in common.
right, pretty close. Yeah, I don't know if the thought might be keep the, the wet away from the dry. But we can look into it. Because obviously we can't have a situation with any of the IT getting wet. If some of it has to be worked on, but we can look into it, can ask the question.
Yeah, that makes sense. It just, not to have all the plumbing in one area.
Right, yeah, totally. Well, I've taken quite a few notes. These are really great notes.
Yeah.
And I'll get with the architect on all of it, and whenever I get a response, I'll get an email out to all of y'all. You can keep looking at this. This is really good feedback.
Well, congratulations on getting this far along.
Well, if you're gonna have a drain in the.
Thank y'all for the help.
You're gonna have a drain in the treatment room for disinfecting and all that. You have to have water outlets in the treatment room also.
Well, that's also where our bathing area is gonna be, so.
That's the
we're gonna have
bathing
water
area.
and
So, I mean,
everything.
that's a tub right there on the right.
Oh, okay, all right.
So there is.
Gonna be access to.
One of us can't see very well.
Yeah, this is pretty
Right.
small writing. Yeah, sorry.
Yes, little.
But yeah, I think if you remove that washer and dryer and actually made a double sort of. Bathing area that becomes. I mean, it could become your mop sink, but then that's putting dirty in there, but
Do you recommend having the mop sink?
Well, can't you do that with an
Clean an
outdoor
area as
shower?
possible.
Can't you do that in the
I
outdoor
mean, I just
shower?
think you need a place in this facility somewhere
Right.
to fill and empty mop buckets.
Right.
Yeah,
Without picking them up into giant tubs.
right.
But if you do the outdoor shower in one of these corners, hopefully you would have access, direct
Right.
access
To,
to the mop thing.
Or if we can't fit the shower in the, restroom, maybe mop sink can fit. Hopefully there's enough area for that.
And one of
Yeah,
these
we've done
corners
that.
off of the hall is what I was thinking. I don't know what this speckled stuff means. Do you know what it means?
Where is it?
Just the speckled part, yeah.
Okay.
Switching the
Does it mean
room.
roofing or
switching the treatment
The speckle.
or the
or
storage.
does it mean concrete?
Okay, the little pictures to the right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's usually concrete.
Oh, okay.
So that's showing the
So you
structure.
could probably put-
Which shrinks the storage quite a bit, but Linda's point was maybe flip the treatment room to the back corner and the storage room to the smaller room.
So
Oh.
this one goes over here by the same plane, by the same square footage, but this one you put it over here and this one over here. The storage room will be part of that, but somehow it is like it or something like that.
Yeah.
Involved
Yeah.
Inside,
Yeah.
so the guys that they can wash inside, I mean, you're building a facility that, and then you. well,
Outside.
outside,
Yeah.
and so,
Yeah.
frequently. And so the washer and dryer, the plumbing, the washer and dryer would be already. There, you fold things, whatever, put it away and.
And storage.
Things, that's more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Because it is for the. Observation room, but in the surgical room.
Yeah.
No, it will be over here, it doesn't make any difference
And,
for.
and it would be more convenient for the quarantine area also, where you
Yeah.
have the problematic animals, which is
Yeah,
the ones that are. gonna
it's
be
actually
needing it.
That's
making,
true.
it's actually making fewer turns in hallways.
So just switch
It's
them
the
over.
matter is that.
Yeah, that's not a bad.
One
Yeah.
There.
recap again, I got a little
Then
confused.
you,
So she's talking about
These two
switching your
get flipped.
storage
No, this-
to,
And this, all of this gets turned around.
I see.
and then your
Just switch
plumbing's
it up.
all back along that hallway.
Yeah, I can ask the question, probably going back to what you were already pointing out, that it may be that our plumbing is where it is, right, in that existing
Oh.
slab. And they're keeping, the
Yeah.
reason why the bathroom and the tubs are kind of where they're at, maybe there's a single point for connection.
right,
But I can ask if it's possible.
Cause right, where we're at existing where they have, where our examination room, everything's gonna be. On that wall, we have our big sink there already, so a lot of our plumbing is right there already, so.
That may be it. You're gonna have so much blue ink there, you're not gonna have any blueprint left,
I know, I know.
or whatever you call it.
Yeah, I know, you're right. Well, this is really
That's
good.
why it'd be helpful to have the architect here when you get down closer to
Sure,
one.
When we get to-
Stamp on that. thing.
correct. And when we get to what I want to call finalization, I can ask that, but yeah, I can get you guys all answers on this. No worries. Any other recommendations?
No, not right now.
All right. Well, we can keep on looking, or we can move on to the next item. I'll just let me know where you think we should be.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, there being no more recommendations, and by the way, thank y'all. That have all really good pointers there. I'll get back with y'all on all of this. We'll move on to the next item. General discussion, possible action on preventative care medical schedule of animal intakes. So a little bit backdrop on this, Paula's been great with sharing a lot of information with me, and all of you have. Thank you all. Everyone shared with me different things. And one thing she brought up to me was, we probably should look at, creating some sort of a policy for what we want to call intake and preventative care. So she shared with me a write-up. Everyone has a copy of that. She revised it again, so now there's a revised copy.
Billy
So
helped with that. It's
I
the
guess-
same information.
It was just too good. And it's just such good recommendations. Should need to be bullet points. So,
yeah,
they're just really good recommendations. She really put that together very well.
is this stuff similar that you guys do in the private side?
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's quality shelter medicine, which is now a specialty in veterinary medicine.
Yeah.
Shelter medicine. So the guidelines that she has there are really best practices of a shelter. So she's got it right there. There's maybe a couple little itty bitty things that she didn't have room for. But overall, she's spot on.
Great. Yeah, I've done a little research myself and really like the list that you gave me, and this one's a step up also. You shared with me, I'm trying to remember the group.
Oh, there's a shelter medicine group out of UC Davis especially. They do
Yeah.
a really good job. The US ACPA
That's it.
has
Yeah.
made really good shelter recommendations.
So it's like 200 pages. And so I went through it, but I was like, you know what? I kind of like hers a little bit.
The shorter version,
Yeah,
Points.
right. Yeah.
bullet points, thank you.
So thank you. Thank you all so much for providing this. I do like
But
it.
I think, I mean, currently, I think we're failing in so many areas.
Mhm. Well, we certainly strive to improve and we appreciate, you providing this for us. And yeah, so I guess taking a look at this, first item is intake. So this kind of pertains to records, evaluation, parasite treatment, blood tests. Next item is vaccinations, heartworm, skin conditions, respiratory. You want to kind of tell us a little bit on all these things, or?
Yeah, I mean, some of it's gonna be different for strays and loose animals. And there is gonna be a little bit of, having to, well, this animal's obviously owned, it has a tag, it has an owner, it's, we're gonna put it in quarantine, but every animal needs to have a quick exam. And one of the very first things that you need to do is just bring him into the treatment area, assess, is this animal sick? Does he have injuries? Do any of these things need to be dealt with? You should get a weight on all of these animals. And that's not even happening right now. You want to be able to isolate them when they first come in. You need to have a area where you're doing owner, I'm trying to say where an owner is going to reclaim them. And you don't really want those right next to the really nasty mangy strays, but you're going to have to evaluate them. Once you get past that, we're going to intake this animal and keep it, or this animal's going back to its owner. Every cat should be tested for leukemia and FIV. Right now, we are testing those animals after an owner's had possession of them, sometimes for months. If we discover that they, oh, I'm sorry, you fell in love with this kitty, he's positive for FELV, he's going to only live a few months. Too bad. We need to have that information before we give these animals to an owner. They need to know if they're adopting an animal with a death sentence or a short lifespan, and we're not doing that. Same with heartworms. The dogs all need to be tested for heartworms if they're over 5 or 6 months of age. You'll see on there. If an owner adopts an animal and it's positive for heartworms, most shelters are paying for heartworm treatment, or that's part of their budget. If you're going to put them up for adoption and call them heartworm positive, an owner needs to know they have to be in for another $1,000 treatment if I adopt this animal. I love this animal. I want this animal. Yes, I'll pay the $1,000. It's expensive treatment, and that treatment takes 3 months if started right away. Yeah.
So what is your feeling on, and I hate to call it this slow kill for shelter animals and adoptees? You're gonna be against that
I'm against it.
because you're worried about heartworm prevention,
There's
resistance. Correct?
right. The slow kill is where you are just giving them heartworm prevention. Now, that being said, an animal in the shelter with heartworms can be given prevention and started on heartworm prevention until such time that an owner can take them to be treated. But they don't need to be told, we are slowly killing your heartworms. They'll be negative in 6 months if we do this, because that is wrong information. There is somebody locally that's doing that. That's why I'm saying it's wrong information. If you look on the American Heartworm Society, they have a good recommendation on how to treat heartworms, and it's a 3-month protocol. And it's costly. The animal has to be kept inactive. Owners need to know what they're in for. And
Can I poke you 2 more times? So it's not best practice,
Right,
but it gets the dog a home.
right.
So.
That's true.
We're seeing heartworm resistance regardless of what's going on, it's gonna happen. Ivermectin's 35 years old, it's gonna start woodworking, so. In that's the discussion you have with the owner, whether it's a foster adoptee or whatever.
Right.
What are you talking?
That we can slow the progression of the disease itself by giving them prevention and not allowing, heartworms are big worms. They are 4 to 5 inches long. They live in the heart. If an animal has 2 or 3, a heartworm also has a lifespan of about 6-7 years. If an animal only has a small number of heartworms, they can outlive their infection if you put them on preventative and prevent them from getting new ones. So yes, they can have a home, they can have a quality of life, but they don't need to be adopted with the promise of me putting your dog on prevention is going to get rid of this problem, because it's not. But they can still have a good quality of life if the problem is not severe. You get dozens of heartworms and you're going to have heart failure and liver failure accompanying those.
But isn't the short kill based when you do the analysis for the dog, the kidneys and livers and everything, it's based on the dog is healthy and you can the treatment, like for an adult, but it can take something that is intrusive or not.
The amiticide, the main treatment.
The quick kill, the traditional.
Yes, the traditional treatment. Yes, yes. You have to have a healthy animal to do it. Yes,
The animal
yes.
just something aggressive like
Yes.
that, right? Otherwise,
Right.
wouldn't do it for
Right.
somebody. Because I know it, I have Brian and I know the person we're talking about, it took me 11 months to get rid of. In the meantime, I had to keep the dog quiet. And then I had a behavioral problem because then there was no social. I couldn't let it walk.
Right.
Talk.
Right.
Run, whatever. So really, yeah, I'm looking probably a short one.
That's, I mean, that's gonna, the American Heartworm Association has dictations. But anyway, we're getting off on all kinds of tangents on that. It's just that we right now are not adopting out animals where their chronic or expensive conditions are being vetted out to where we can even educate the new owner that this animal has these problems and that this is some expensive. So we need to be, I think, working on that. Every animal should be given flea and tick preventative from the minute they hit the shelter. And I don't even think in this climate, in this area, that you need to be even looking through to try to find the flea and tick. They just need to be given it because you've had flea explosions in the shelter. It's I've had animals come into the clinic that the animal is so infested with fleas that they're getting flea-borne and tick-borne diseases that are killing the animal. We've got to get them just all treated and not allow the problem to ever take off within the shelter. So that's for both fleas and ticks, and the majority of those products are heartworm preventative as well. So you can kind of do an all-in-one thing, and they will also get all your mange. So you'll be able to be treating Demodex, ear mites, pretty much all mange, flea, tick, heartworm with just one topical application. The problem is they've done, we're constantly taking over what we have either donated or we have puppy supplies, but we can't get our drug reps to give us gigantic quantities of the stuff for the big dogs, so they're not getting it.
So that's why
it needs to be in the budget.
that's why $5,000 is.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's another one that's
Ancient.
right, right.
Yeah. So
But there's medication that can be put on every one of these animals. The cats need to be screened for ringworm. Y'all need to have a Woods Light that you can, it's an easy test. You can figure out who has it, who doesn't. But more dipping needs to be done on a regular basis and more screening to make sure that you're not introducing ringworm into the facility, as well as upper respiratory infections, and that's a whole another ballgame. So, they need to have their weight, they need to have their temperatures taken. If they're healthy, they all need to have an upper respiratory vaccine. The cats, the dogs need distemper and parvo immediately upon hitting the shelter. And that's just so you don't end up with a bunch of zoonosis or a bunch of contagious diseases entering the shelter. Once you allow parvo in there, ringworm, all the fleas, it's a nightmare to work backwards to treat it all. It's much easier to prevent it.
So some of this,
There must be different kinds of ringworm. I had it, adopted a cat in San Antonio. Dr. McGonigal got it, her Tex got it, I got it, every animal in my house got it. And it took so much athlete's foot medicine. I was buying that stuff
That's
at CVS.
because it needs to not
It's bad, it's
go.
bad.
It is bad because the cat I adopted from the shelter had ringworm. I had it. Fortunately, during COVID, because I had a big spot on my face, but I wore a mask. And my other cat got it. I was dipping both my cats because the topical stuff doesn't work.
No.
You have to either do oral or.
Would it be good to have a protocol where cats, as part of intake, they are dipped in Dakin solution, or I don't know what you guys are using, but
So right now, we don't have anything. We don't have the space. We don't have
I
any-
bought
we
them.
don't.
Yes.
part of the.
That's why part of the new building,
I
we're
think
gonna be able to do all
a lot of
that
things
stuff with the
that
new
we're talking
building.
about, it's probably gonna be really.
But that's what I'm saying. You need to have these considerations when you're building your treatment room. If you're dipping a cat in lime sulfur, you need to have some place to put said cat while he's drying. And it's not back in the cat room.
Yeah, as of right now, the way our building's set up, we don't have a space to dip cats or bathe anything or do anything like that. We don't even have a scale right now to be able to weigh the animals.
Building is deplorable.
No, it is.
Really
I've been there, I've written a couple of health or USDA certificates.
Yeah.
For y'all, but this is super exciting for me. And I think it's gonna put, another thing on the map for Port A. And then I think your architect is probably having so much fun, she can't stand it. Because designing something like this for animals is fun.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, very good points. One of my questions is, these items, is all of this stuff that staff needs to be doing? Because my understanding, and I don't know it fully yet, but we send some of these animals off to be treated at some point, right?
Yeah.
Is some of that captured here or?
A lot of it needs to be. We are seeing so many train wrecks because they are not,
Because
done properly at intake.
some of them,
Our bill that the city's paying us does not need to be as high as it is.
okay.
You'll be able to save so much money.
You would be able to save,
Some of this stuff.
first of all, we're having a hard time squeezing into the clinic all the things that come to us. But we're treating things and we're vaccinating things and we're deworming things. We should never see an animal come from the shelter with worms because it should have already been dewormed.
So is there something that absolutely has to be sent to you? I think it's vaccines, right?
Rabies.
Right,
Rabies.
we can do
Rabies.
the
Rabies.
other vaccines. We can't do
But
rabies
Everything in
vaccines.
house except, as far as everything she's got there, everything in house except the rabies face.
That's
Okay,
the only thing.
gotcha.
Y'all could be checking for heartworms. You could be doing the dipping. You could be checking for some skin conditions you may have to consult with us on. You can be treating for fleas. You can be doing the prevention. You can be doing all the vaccines. And yes, we are charging for it. We are also marking it up. I mean, it's a business.
Yeah.
And we have got to run a business. We have like 8 employees. I don't know how many employees, Billy.
Yeah.
That's 50% of our business. We have to make enough
Right.
margin to pay employees.
So
there-
per this new
And
intake,
At the same point, we want to be supportive.
Right.
And discount it as far as we can
right?
and all that sort of thing, but once you guys have this facility. You will be able to save some money.
You should be able, yeah.
We'd love to sit down. One thing I would love to sit down and do is look at her protocol and go, what's this gonna cost me per dog?
Right.
What's this gonna cost me per cat?
Mhm.
And you guys have a head count, that dog walks in the door, you know exactly how many dollars and cents it's gonna be.
Mhm.
And then you can kind of budget based on that.
Right.
And then kind of have a really good feel for like, okay, what's this gonna cost if we go with this?
Correct.
protocol?
You just hit the nail on the head. That was gonna be my next point. Everyone keeps talking about our number that we have now. I will need to figure out the costs associated with all of this. We're at the point now where we're just discussing this item. This is something that we like. We do. That'll be the next step.
I'd be happy to help you with that.
Right.
Yeah,
If
and
you-
I've looked up
if you-
even just,
If y'all want, shoot me an email. I mean, you'll have a copy of this.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
maybe tag just a number with each one of these items, so that way
We
we.
have the number.
no, I have one, I mean, just one example, one. A heartworm test, our combo test cost us $21 and we charge around 45 for it. Now, that sounds a lot. Our combo test, our heartworm test for 4 other tick-borne diseases. It's not something you absolutely have to do. It'd be nice if you did, but it's not something you have to do in the practice. You can buy heartworm kits. If you bought them by 100-pack, $3.75 cost.
And it's only gonna test for your heartworms.
It's not gonna
But
test
it's a
for,
Cost saver per shelter.
Yeah.
right,
Now, I would love to have an email on all those recommendations and
So-
we can start the research on that. So we can pull numbers together.
Yeah.
Because at some point, we'll get this all finalized, but I'll need costs to present to city council when we start building the budget here during the summertime. I'll just explain to them this recommended policy and the costs, and hopefully we get the money approved.
You have the retail bills though, don't you?
oh, they have,
Yeah, so you have retail bills to present.
but no, I mean, it's different. With a lot of that spays and neuters and surgical cost.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, if I'm charging you $45 to do a heartworm kit that you could do in-house with BJ doing it for $3.75, look at how much per dog that already is.
Right, right.
And an intake protocol has to be in
Have
place.
animal shelter
that's-
specialty?
I need to know the exact
You
numbers so
see
I
Davis
can budget
does,
that.
and.
No, I was asking specifically about Texas A&M because they may have already calculated all of this.
It's just different from your drug suppliers. I mean, definitely one thing that I have found on. Because I owned a practice in Austin and everything is more expensive to
Well-
get into down here. What is with this?
Well, no, everything's more
I mean,
expensive.
I can contact them because I have contacts at Texas A&M and I knew that they have an animal shelter, a shelter medicine. Specialty there.
Yeah.
So I
Your,
can
your best
contact
bet
them.
is to develop a good relationship with a distributor. And the only distributor that you guys have been using recently is
Patterson's.
Patterson's, right? And it's just not gonna be your best bet for getting quality vaccines and medications.
Well, what I'm saying is that they may have already done this, and so we don't have to reinvent the wheel, and we're talking about Texas distributors anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not against somebody trying to see,
Check and see, but you know, prices change all the time.
it's
So,
COVID,
and a lot of
COVID did
that
us into,
it's volume, you know, how many you're
it
getting.
is volume.
It's like anything else.
And if you get a good relationship with a distributor and you purchase so many dozens of heartworm preventative, they're like, hey, I got all these free samples. I mean, it's how you gather stuff. And then you ask all your vet clinic friends, like I recently
What
acquired.
I'm getting at is that we need a hard number for Larry.
Yeah.
We can't just be, well, let's
And-
get
and-
together with this guy and see
Because
what he says.
what's gonna happen is,
I think I can get that for you.
thank y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah, just all I need is, like, for example, we'll go into whichever one of these, we can go bullet by bullet, like what is the FELV, like what is that one item, or is it two? I don't really know. What is the cost for one of those?
Yeah. well,
That's all
Yeah.
I'll
I
need,
can
because
get all that for you.
like you said, all I'll need is that
You can Look up
info.
our distributor online
Yeah,
and
or you can shoot me a link or whatever. And then I'll figure out volume, just like you said, and then come budget, I'll recommend these items to council, and they'll want an explanation, right? So I'll have to say, well, here's the cost, here's our volume, and that's why this
and you
number
can
is,
also say, this is how much we're gonna save per dog.
right,
Is what we're doing right now.
correct.
And this is why, we'll have
Yes,
so
sir.
much kind of savings
Yes, sir.
going towards our facility.
Because once we get our new building, I would love to be able to just, right when the animal comes in, give it its flea medicine, everything, and get
Yep.
it done, so that way it's, a healthy dog, instead of sitting there and I'm gonna have to stare at him like, well, I can't treat you for fleas, because I don't got the flea stuff for it.
Right, right. Then they come see us for hotspots and we're treating them with medications and antibiotics and we're using a lot more medication, not to mention office visits and tech time. You're ending up with a $200 bill that he could have treated this animal for $20.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm glad that we're talking about this. We're just in the beginning stages. So we don't need to really take any action on this. Why don't everyone just take a copy of this home, review it? Maybe next time we meet, we can go over it some more. Should we add things, remove things, alter things? And then talk about, hopefully we have some costs, we can start going through all this. But yeah, with that, why don't everyone just take a copy home and we can go over this some more? Sir?
I think when we were at the community center, that one meeting, there was a companion issue that came up. That's might help a little bit, but it's harder to do. Someone mentioned part-time vet tech.
Mhm.
I think
Yeah, we
when
mentioned
we're
that.
talking about all this, we're getting beyond the scope of what an alligator wrestler and his boss are capable of doing.
You gotta,
I mean, the thing is, if doing simple blood draws, that's something simple to learn.
Yeah.
But again, trying to justify hiring a part-time vet tech, trying to justify another salary to put in the
Right.
department.
We discussed
But
that.
versus
Someone's
teaching
got to
us,
do the work
Yeah.
that they do.
and I'll be,
To save the money.
Yeah.
to save.
The cleaning, the everything.
well, there's always like the ideal state and then reality, and we always want to always progress. But, from my understanding of government, basically, we like to do things in incremental
Yeah.
fashion. And, we're talking about increasing costs with the preventative care. And I think maybe we start there. What I do recommend though is, we do have 2 animal shelter employees at this moment, right? I can dig into, exactly how busy they are and their needs, but I do know that they do take training regularly on all of these items. I feel, you guys are comfortable with doing all of.
I guarantee you, if we, in a perfect world, that would be nice to have a part-time kennel tech. Someone to be at the shelter all the time. That would be great, but we can handle it. We can handle the cleaning, getting everything done. Give us the right facilities, give us the right equipment. We can get it done.
So yeah, we've got so much in the budget, right? Every time we talk about these expenses, let's always remember that's pretty much a tax increase. So we have to pass on to the citizens.
That's why.
But we also heard before also is that when that y'all said you were out, somebody's got to be out on calls and all
Right.
this, that you didn't have time to do a lot of.
Like, how many days are you and Rick both there together?
As of right now, the way our schedule looks, we'd be there one day together.
Yeah, see, so if you go, so that means 6 days a week. 6.
Yeah.
Then there is only one person there and you're out on calls. So I'm just really thinking, it doesn't have to be a vet tech. The chief has already shot down paying for a trained vet tech. It can be a kennel person. They need somebody that stays at the facility, not just to care for the animals, but to, answer the phone and to greet people. This is how you get rid of the animals. This is how
We're
you
keeping our
sense.
dogs.
how you get them homes,
Yeah.
is to have somebody
You
there.
can't
to do
sell
it.
if you don't have a salesman.
I spoke with Scott Burrows last
Yeah.
meeting about this at the end.
Right,
And he said that the city would need a grant and I'm willing to write the grant proposals. I just need permission. And I was gonna talk with Wendy Moore about this to get permission and I'll write the grant proposal. Okay,
I
so
think-
everything, we can pay for all of that.
What I would do is follow up with Chief exactly what that grant is, because I'm not familiar,
No.
Yeah.
He told me that if it's the only way that you can accept funding for a person for a position to be available would be for me to give a grant.
Hmm.
So I have to find, I already have 2 foundations that I've contacted that I can write the grant proposals to. And the city accepts the grant in the name of the animal shelter. And we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Mhm.
And this pays for a person. And you guys can later, depending on how much money we can get, we can determine who it is and how much
Right.
time and
and how trained they are.
Sure,
So it's a foundation.
yeah.
Because the animal shelter is not a 503C. I couldn't submit the grant proposal last week because it was just for places that already have that.
Yeah.
that-
And these guys do a great job with
Right.
what you have,
Right.
but you cannot vaccinate, deworm, apply flea medication,
And do everything.
draw blood
Clean
by
the
yourself.
shelter.
By yourself. You've got to have 2 people. Somebody has to hold these animals.
For instance, now, he's by himself.
You're right, but I mean, he's saying that they can do it all,
Exactly.
but they're only together 1 day a week, which means you only have 2 guaranteed people there 1 day a week.
And clean the.
So
whole
now you're
place.
telling me that you're only gonna do this preventive medicine 1 day a week. Because you can't do it by yourself.
Right.
It's not doable.
So I'm hoping to address that in a constructive way, but I
Mhm.
need to get permission.
I would again follow that up with chief, mainly because I know that, I'm over these meetings, but really what we're talking about here is chief. This is a department under the police department,
Right.
and he's the head over that. So he oversees all those employees as far as creating positions,
Yeah.
negating positions. It would have to go through him.
Right, no, absolutely, and that was the understanding. I just have to get the money, and then he'll determine
Right.
what and when and all
Yeah,
that.
follow up with him,
Yeah.
and then that way he can guide you through that process.
It's not so much. I don't need so much the input from him as to how to write the grant proposals and where to write them, because he doesn't do that himself. It's more permission from the city for me to serve
Right.
as a ambassador.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm sure city council can agree upon that, but they're gonna go to chief. And they're gonna say, chief, what do you think? And that's why I would go through him,
It's a necessary thing. UT wrote a grant to get a part-time veterinarian at the Art. It took a grant to get a veterinarian there.
Yeah, that would be so.
I still do, no, we have one. We have one that's part-time there. I still do volunteer work there, but that's exactly what it took to get. And I was exhausted. I'm like, look, I'm a volunteer. I don't want to work 30 hours a week. And we wrote a grant and we got a veterinarian, and it is all the difference in the world.
Yep, whether we get there right away or years down the road, I think we're going in the right direction. And certainly everything we're talking about here, there's costs associated with everything. So we may have to get to a spot where we're prioritizing what we're doing. We're getting the facility, we're talking about a new policy. I'm sure there are other policies we're gonna bring up. We're just gonna have to do it incrementally. And not, have a huge upfront cost. Typically it's how we do a lot of city things. With that, are there any other recommendations or questions on this item? I think maybe we just take this policy home and kind of think it over, and we'll get some emails on costs.
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to my distributors, line out each thing we need for each species. And I'll email it to Dr. Baker, and then she can shoot it to you.
Thank y'all. That's
It's-
great.
it's not-
Kind of a current market price on
Yeah,
what are these tests run? What are these vaccines run? What does this being warmer run? What's a flea medicine run? All those kinds of things, and you can cherry pick what you. You
Yeah.
can cherry pick what.
it's not as easy as sending you links. The distributors won't give you prices without an account.
Yeah, I'll get the numbers for it. I'll get you best prices on what's out
Okay.
there,
Yeah,
and I'll give you something to work with.
yeah, and then maybe a
I
link of,
guarantee you,
right,
It'll be
preventive
cheap.
medicine is gonna save you
sure,
a lot, and it's gonna save us from having, and it's not that we don't wanna do it, it's just. I get so many complaints at the clinic about, we gotta do something for the shelter. They're taking up too much of our time. We don't have time to take care of our people because
Right,
of the shelter. And if we can do the preventive medicine side of it. And this.
we would see
facility,
less of yours.
Then
right.
you guys would be coasting.
I agree.
Yeah, I can't get an appointment for weeks.
Yeah, no,
So
he's not lying, man. He's not.
if these are, I know we have a distributor that it sounds like we're using right now. Do you think we can get all these things from that person, or we have
No.
to sign up different
I can,
places?
I can log into Patterson and I can pull their prices and.
Yeah.
and I can
Okay.
Compare apples to apples.
The,
Yeah.
the sad part
We can go through
is,
that more next time.
is that one distributor will give you your heartworm and your flea preventative a lot cheaper, and another one will be best. Your ability to get best pricing from one distributor.
Right.
It's best to have, I guess we use maybe. All in all, maybe 8
Yeah,
different
Okay, sure.
to get, because some things you can't get from this company. And
right.
if you're gonna practice quality medicine, they're gonna have it, and this company's not, because they just came out with it,
Right.
all that kind of thing, so, but
Right.
these things are so standard, everybody's gonna have it.
Right.
And you can get best price on.
Good.
Like
All right.
realistically, the only time our animals should go see the vet is if they need to be fixed and get the rabies shots, and if something
And illness.
in
Illness,
illness.
right, right.
Okay,
Yeah, y'all are spending too much money on preventative medicine right now,
So I have.
and it's not being prevented.
A question that's probably kind of far off from where you guys are at right now, but what's gonna be the protocol when you begin this project? Are you shutting your shelter down? What's the plan?
that's a good question. We're not into the construction phase yet, obviously, but when we get closer to that, we will have to figure that out. And I guess that can be a question is, can we do, let's call it half of the facility at a time? I don't know if that's even operable to do it.
Because
that way.
if, like, if they can start on, like, say, the dog run section first, and we still have our office where we still have the dogs inside, at least we have a building while the dogs are being built. So that way, when it comes to the office building, okay, we have a place for the dogs. Cats, we're gonna have to find something to do with the cats.
Yeah.
But
Well, I haven't talked to our team about it. And I'm a little afraid to, you know where I'm going.
I know where you're going.
But I would hope that we could use our facility somewhat for you guys to hold or to process or whatever, temporary animal shelter, blah, 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 whatever you want to call it, as just to help y'all out.
so otherwise, what we'd have to do
And
is,
not to charge you anything for it, just to say, hey, you got these cages, you got this area, you guys want to set up shop.
Basically, we have a back grooming area
Yeah.
that has runs and stuff in it
Yeah.
that we no longer have a groomer in.
And we
Okay.
might have to work with Aransas Pass or Portland or somebody, see if
The
they'll
other thing that works,
help us out.
That's, sorry, that's getting off, topic.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay, we're gonna have to
Okay,
take that to the next meeting.
Yeah, she's right. So we're basically
Okay.
supposed to talk preventative care, medical schedule. Yeah, so, I mean, we got to stick close to what is on the agenda.
Right.
So thank you for that. But thank you for that also. Are there any other recommendations, questions on item B?
I think we covered it pretty good.
Okay, yeah, and again, we will have this in the future at our next meeting, continue discussion on. If anyone wants a different topic item for whatever we're kind of talking about now, let me know. We'll add it on the agenda for next time as an item.
Yeah.
But it sounds like a good idea. Thank you. All right, next animal shelter update. From Robert Grimes, or do you prefer?
either way is fine.
Okay.
DJ Robert, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
But I mean, where we're at right now, it's just waiting for all the construction to start, everything going out for bid. We did get approved for our new software. We're waiting for our two IT, Sparky and Peggy, to get together so that we can get it set up. Once that gets set up, it'll be a lot better. We can actually put all our medical records for the dogs and everything all into one place and everything like that. We can actually post this dog's heartworm positive, you know, what we'll cover, everything like that. But right now it's just a waiting game. Not a whole lot going on in the shelter right now, as far as new things.
Excellent, thank you. All right, moving on to our last item, scheduling our next meeting. I think the bi-monthly meetings are working pretty good. As far as when I actually have updates for everyone. So we are in, you want to call it the first or second week of April. Maybe we can look at June doing the same thing. Did everyone like Thursdays at 11? Did we want to keep with that?
I like it.
That works.
No,
How about the 8th? That would be 2 months out. Or if not, just let me know. We can go to the next one would be the 15th.
I like early.
I don't have any idea what's going on.
I know. Wish I would have brought my other calendar, but I think I'm good.
I think I'm good.
So Thursday, 8 June at 11.
If everyone's okay with that.
I'm good.
So June 8th. That's a Thursday, 11 a.m. All right, we'll schedule that for our next meeting and we'll get another email out with an agenda reminding everyone. All right, with that, we'll adjourn. Thank you.
We can keep these materials you pass out, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. you.